Here is the summary of the poem Fog by Carl Sandburg. The poem is proof of how brilliant human imagination can be. We make up magical creatures like mermaids, or we look at a cupboard and believe it's an entrance to a magical world. Sandburg's imagination is like that. He compares a common weather phenomenon, the fog, to a cat. More specifically, he thinks the way the fog covers a place resembles the way a cat silently enters a room. It makes perfect sense once the poet has put it that way. Moreover, just like a cat sits on walls or windowsills looking over us humans, the fog settles down on a city and its ports. It doesn't trouble anyone, but just looks on. For a brief time it covers the city and then moves on to its next destination as silently as it entered. Let's look at the literary elements of the poem Fog. Not surprisingly, the most obvious literary element that Sandburg has used is a metaphor. He has indirectly compared the fog to a cat. Sandburg describes fog coming into a city to a cat silently enter an alley or a room. He then compares the fog settled over the city to a cat sitting on its hind legs. Finally, he compares fog leaving the city to a cat leaving a place quietly. Sandburg uses simple words to create a vivid description of the fog. The phrases "on the fog comes," "sits looking," and "moves on" invoke imagery of movement in the poem. They create an image of the fog entering, settling over, and then finally moving away from the city. These phrases, along with "little cat feet" and "silent haunches," come together to compare the actions of the fog to that of a cat. Another literary element in the poem is transferred epithet. The phrase "on silent haunches" is an example. Here, haunches are not silent. Rather, they refer to how a cat silently sits on its back legs. The poem does not have a rhyme scheme since it is written in free verse. Sandburg's imagination and his choice of words transform the fog from a common phenomenon to an enchanting experience. The next time you see fog rolling in, think of its little cat feet.